Good afternoon. It is Monday. It is a little after 12, a couple of minutes late. I apologize. And we are back online again. Thank you for your patience. Last week, we were busy with some inspections for one of our sellers, and that definitely takes priority. Anyway, so what are we going to talk about today? So just as a reminder, I'm Jennifer Tim. I am a real estate planner. And I am the owner of the Welcome Home Global Group, and we are absolutely passionate about helping you increase your wealth across the globe through real estate, and then, of course, helping you with strategies to transfer that wealth to minimize your capital gains tax obligations. Well, let's start out with what we're going to talk about today. Our question is going to be, are distressed properties on the increase? Well, if you listen to certain people in Wall Street, you are going to think that the sky is falling, that we are back in the times of the Great Depression, and that left, right, and center properties and homeowners are just, falling by the wayside. So we are going to have a look at this question from a national level, and then from a Southern California perspective, and then just generally see what the market is doing. But of course, it all starts with that national news. Okay, love this. Lots of information on here. This is our weekly new inventory. So basically, the burgundy is the number of new listings that come on and stay. The ones that are immediate sales are literally properties that hit the market, and within 24 hours, they are going under contract or into escrow. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we are, that there is buyer demand, that sellers who are pricing their properties correctly for condition and location in their markets are getting them, finding those right buyers, and buyers and sellers are able to work it out in open escrow. A little bit more information on the screen. So our current mortgage rates are down slightly. So we're in a stabilization period. So we know that there's volatility with the mortgage rates, but every slight decrease is seen as a positive. The fact that we're seeing so many of the properties go into escrow means that the buyers are back. Are there as many buyers as there were maybe a year ago? No, because the interest rates are higher, but they are. Those who are back are ready, they're willing, and they're able, more importantly, to actually put an offer in on your home. So one thing that's really important to have a look at is if we look at this in perspective. So this is where we are, and this is by week in 2023. We are way below where we have been in the past two years. New listings are down 20% a week, each week, and immediate sales are up week over week again. So this basically means that, I love my, it's like, for want of something better to use, here are our properties, but we've got all these buyers just coming in and just gobbling them up as fast as they possibly can. And that is really what is dictating our market at the moment. Looking at a little further, kind of extending that out a little bit, you can see that this red line represents where we are right now. We are really below where we have been prior to COVID. And we can also see from this when that demand sort of bottoms out and we start seeing an increase in the number of properties that stay on the market. We're just not seeing that at the moment. Heaven forbid. I mean, this is really not a good situation. We're really hoping that we're going to see this trend line actually at least kind of increasing slightly. We definitely do not want to see this red line going below any of these lines, because then that's really going to create a terrible situation for buyers out there. So this just is that indication again that we have so little inventory, and whatever comes on the market is being snapped up so fast. So we're not seeing, we're definitely not seeing the market that we saw prior to COVID yet. One good indication of the demand that's out there and the speed of the market is that this is the fewest price reduction since June. So this is normally when we'll start seeing the demand bottoming out and that inventory increasing. And when the inventory increases and the competition increases, then sellers have to consider doing price reductions. We're not seeing that yet. So we are still seeing that the buyer demand is up and that our prices are really strong right now because sellers don't have to go through the price reduction. Interesting to see, and this is part of the explanation of where we are right now, the age of home sellers. So we do know that our younger boomers are the ones who are selling the highest number of properties. Then we have our Gen Xers and older boomers. Totally makes sense. They've got reasons to downsize. Maybe they're moving on to a senior community, a retirement community, whatever the case is, but they are the ones who are seeing the value of selling in today's market. The share of buyers and sellers by generation, this is also important. So we know that our millennials are our highest, largest buyer pool that we have ever experienced of potential buyers. And yet, because of the higher prices that are out there, affordability comes into play. So who we are seeing as buyers are our Gen Xers and our younger boomers, because they are the ones who have a little more equity. They can come up with those down payments. They can qualify for those cheaper mortgage rates. And so unfortunately, this is creating a difficult situation for our younger folks who we were starting to see at the beginning of last year who were taking over the buying scene. And just because of affordability issues, they're absolutely not. Okay, so coming back to that question of distressed sales. So we know that sellers are putting their homes on the market. Buyers are getting in there quickly. They're coming together, having that coming together of the minds and going into escrow. Equity. So we also know that there are the majority of our sellers have a tremendous amount of equity in their homes because of how strong the market has been over the last couple of years. Think about the value of your home or your neighbor's home, or, if you were tracking it, you would have seen how much more equity everyone has in their homes. So you can see here on the West Coast, we have 61.5% of mortgages with 50% plus equity in their homes. So when it comes to a distressed sale, there's no reason for a seller to have a distressed sale because they have so much equity in their homes right now that even if they sold below market value, which they don't even have to do today because we have so few homes on the market and so many more buyers out there who are willing and able to buy, that we just don't see that equity situation at all. And we're going to look at that in a little more detail. But this is a great chart, makes you understand that the distressed sales are just really not a source of inventory for today's buyers, and definitely not in some of the states, where we work. I'm licensed in Texas and in California, and distressed sales are not going to be where you're going to find those properties. Southern California, we're going to start out with some of our mortgage rates. Now, I will admit this is from a week ago. I have not received an update from my Wells Fargo contact. I need to be on him and kind of ask him, but he's still, so this is Wells Fargo, and Clark is still able for that in-the-box borrower to offer rates that are in the mid-fives. You've got to be in the box. You've got to have a strong credit history, a good credit score. And if you're interested in finding out about credit scores, we actually have a couple of articles coming out in our newsletter in the next couple of weeks that really address what is a good credit score, what makes that up, and how it's used. Another one of our lenders, this is from last week, they're hovering now for conforming rates around about that 6%, and the 30-year fixed, they're sitting at 6.5%. Here's another one, and also around about that low 6s, and their 30-year is a little higher than that. But it just shows again how important it is for you to shop around for the right lender for your credit situation. And if you need any referrals, of course, we would love to make those introductions. So let's look at Southern California. And we're going to look at it from the perspective of where we are with forbearance. You know, that was the whole thing during COVID, and everybody had these forbearance plans because, you know, obviously a lot of people lost their jobs, lost their incomes, couldn't earn enough to meet their payments. Well, 8.4 million forbearances, and yet 95% of them have exited already. So the COVID forbearance period did not lead to a large volume of distressed sales. Now, again, you're going to hear from Wall Street that the sky is falling and we have lots of sellers with distressed properties. It is not the case. It is so important to make sure that you're following the data and the people who are actually experienced and skilled in analyzing the data and showing you what's happening in the real estate market. The real estate market is not the same as what's happening on Wall Street. So this is a great indication that we have the lowest level that we've seen of folks who are still in forbearance. So of the 8 million who have exited, a lot of them you know, just basically they've worked through the program, and actually foreclosure, there's only 1%, delinquent 5%, but so many of these homeowners have so much equity in their homes that once they went through the program, everything else worked out during the process. National delinquency rate for first lien mortgages. Again, this is where we are right now. This is our delinquency rate, is this aquamarine color. We are at historically low levels of delinquency. So buyers, if you're thinking that you're holding out because you're waiting for all these distressed properties that Wall Street people who don't know what they're talking about are out there, because of course bad news sells. So they're out there getting national attention. That is not what's currently happening. We are absolutely at historic lows of just over 3% of first lien mortgages that have ended up in any level of delinquency. And you can see the 2005 averages, you know, is 4.54%. The mortgage delinquencies by severity. So of course there's, you know, a lot of people will if they're in that category, you know, they're given an opportunity to get themselves out of that situation. And again, if we look at our total delinquencies, you know, it's a very low portion. So we are sitting right over here, and most people are able to get themselves out of that situation with the programs that are out there to help them. So current cures, as you can see, you know, it's just, yeah, the cures are in there, they're working, and for the most part, we have very few that are still sitting in that delinquency state beyond the 90-day period. So if you think about it, the housing market is truly strong. There is so much tappable equity that homeowners have, that is what has seen the majority of those who did end up in forbearance, who have ended up in any type of delinquency situation, to enable them to get out of that situation without having to actually go into foreclosure. We know that credit is strong because, again, we're in a totally different credit environment to where we were in 2008. So those homeowners who have a mortgage are truly the ones that are qualified to have one, or qualified to have one at the time. And it's just a temporary setback and they're able to get out of it. And because our job situation is very strong. So even though the feds are pushing for this percentage rate of unemployed, there are so many folks out there with jobs, with good paying jobs. We've seen wage increases, and all of this has led to a stronger market, which is stable and stabilizing. We definitely have a way to go though. So if we have a look at California, Southern California distressed inventory year over year. And these are reports, of course, from Stephen Thomas. So yes, year over year, we have seen an increase of 132%. But you've got to look at the number. So this is the entire Southern California distressed inventory. Last year, we had 62 total in the entire Southern California region. Today, we have 144. That is not enough to meet the needs of buyers today. So that's just the bottom line. I mean, this is where we're sitting, and it's not really, we're kind of on this decline. It's certainly not something which is increasing. So again, if you look at this period, the 630 is the period prior to COVID. That's what we saw prior to COVID. And yet this is where we are currently. 62 was last year. We're now 144. We're at least visible. But again, compared to where we were, and his tracking doesn't really go beyond for the entire Southern California beyond 2012. But you can see we've come from a time period where we had a lot more distressed homes. We are it's basically negligible. So it's not going to be a source for your average home buyer. And for those that are truly distressed, you have got so many cash investors that you are going to have to compete against for our average home buyer that it really is not a source of inventory for a buyer. So our total housing inventory, and again, we have to keep going back to the national figure and then seeing how we fit along this, because we are way down. We should be in 2008. So when that last recession, when we lived through that, we were sitting with more than 4 million homes on the market. And, we're now sitting down with less than 1 million homes on the market. And that is extremely low nationally. This is what's really keeping our market from being, the sky is falling, because we just don't have enough homes on the market. So again, this just gives our sort of history over the last couple of years. And we are down over here to, we just don't have inventory anywhere near where we normally have to meet the demand of our buyers. Our listing inventory year over year, today we're sitting at just under 18,000. Last year we were lower than that, but that was because it was an even faster market. And this is when we had interest rates that were just starting to kind of climb, but they were in those 3s and going up to the 4s. Pre-COVID, we had almost 36,500 homes on the market, so 103% more than where we are today. So we are so low when it comes to that inventory. The great news is, of course, that mortgage applications. So these are the buyers who are saying, okay, I trust that this is a good market. I can see the value of buying that next home. So those applications are up 8% week over week, of course, year over year, because we're in a different interest rate market. Those are down 31%. But the positive is the week over week. So buyers are coming back. They're definitely coming back. And the problem is that we don't have enough homes for them. I'll just keep saying that. So where's our demand? These are properties that hit the market and are in escrow already. So today we have almost 12,000. Last year we had 16,000. Pre-COVID we had 17. And a lot of that is affordability, but it's not that far off where we were prior to COVID. So buyers are there. They're strong. They're pre-approved. They are qualified. They're willing. They're able. Our expected market time, this is kind of a good indication as well that we're nowhere near being in a crazy crashing market. So our days of inventory, so that's from the minute that you put a for sale sign in your yard, or basically market your property for sale, and when you go into escrow. And, we're sitting down over here, we're just over 40 days on the market. And if you look at our graph over here, that is a hot seller's market. We are back in that crazy world again. So today, and this report was from last Thursday, by the way. So last Thursday, we had 45 days on the market. Last year, we had 27 because we were still experiencing those much lower gift from the gods interest rates that we're not going to see again. And the 3-year average was 62 days. So buyers, don't delay. If now is the time for you to buy, to start building your wealth through owning real estate, don't delay, because it's not going to get any better. This keeps going lower. You can see this trend line here. We know that the majority of properties that are on the market are selling at or above the list price, if they've been priced correctly for condition, location, and today's market. And with the declining inventory, because we have demand that is exceeding the inventory, it's going to get faster and faster, and those prices are just going to keep going up again. So what's happening locally? So let's have a look at some of our coastal cities. We'll start off with Dana Point. Our median price of new listings, 2.3 million. Our median days on market is 63, so it's a little higher. But again, we don't have a lot of properties on the market. We only have 42 homes on the market in the entire Dana Point area. So it is still a seller's advantage. Homes that are coming on are those higher price point. Anything up to 2 million is going to sell a lot faster than the 63 days. Once you kind of hit that 2 million, it's a different category of home buyer, and that does reduces your buyer pool, and it takes a little longer. Laguna Beach, of course, this is our highest priced market that we look at. So median price of new listings, 3.17, and our median list price currently is almost 5 million. The median days on market is 63. So despite the substantial difference, almost double from what's in Dana Point, we're seeing the same median days on market. And our inventory is 87, and it's just kind of hovering in there. So it is a seller's advantage still in Laguna Beach. And you know what, for all 4 of these city areas that we really focus on, we have yet to see a buyer's market since we've been doing this. Since I have been in the area, I have not seen a buyer's market. San Clemente, our median price of new listings, 1.9, so almost 2 million, and our median list price is just over 2 million. Median days on market, 49. It is a fast, hot market. We only have 59 properties on the market. So you can be guaranteed that in any of theirs where we're seeing these low numbers of a hot seller's market or seller's market, that there are lines out the door of buyers trying to see these properties and multiple offers. If they're hosting open houses, we don't even need to do open houses for our sellers right now. We have enough pre-approved buyers working with agents that we're just going with scheduled appointments only. We have no need to actually expose the properties in open houses, and we are still getting our multiple offers within a couple of days. So San Juan Capistrano, which remains our strongest sellers market, median price of new listings, 2.7 million, median list price, 2.9 million, median days on market is 21. That is a super, super fiery hot. Oh my gosh, yeah. That is crazy, and there are 27 homes on the market. So why would there be a distressed sale in any of these areas right now? They aren't. There really are no, or virtually no, distressed homes. So buyers, that is not a source for you. Work with a real estate planner like myself. We can help you with the strategies to get you into the right home, but you're not going to find a bargain. You do not have the upper hand. You are not going to make demands on sellers. You are going to, of course, have the right to do your inspections and submit a request for repairs. Be prepared, though, the hotter the market gets, the less inclined sellers need to be to meet any of your requests. It's a negotiation always, but be prepared that you're not, don't go in thinking that you can negotiate a renovation of a property. It's not going to happen. not in our limited inventory. So for sellers, what I'm going to share with you is if you have a need to sell, we can do it for you. We can help you do the analysis to figure out why this is the right time for you by looking at the data, and then obviously you make your personal decision. We have lots of tools in our toolbox to help you. So whether it's a primary residence you're considering selling, or whether it's time to do a current portfolio analysis. You know, I was chatting with a local medical professional the other day, and they have this portfolio of properties that they're planning on leaving to their children. Well, that's wonderful. But you know what? It depends on how long they have owned that property. Are the properties still performing at the level that makes sense? Have they exceeded their depreciation time period? You know, is it time to really transfer those funds through a 1031 exchange and find another property that can actually yield them a greater return on their investment? Having an emotional attachment to an investment property may be costing you a lot of money. And also, if you are looking to sell, and we know who the demographics are of people who are selling right now, and you have a concern because you bought your home decades ago at a very, very low price, and you know that you're going to incur some kind of capital gains obligation, we would be honored to sit down with you and kind of go through some strategies. We work together with your financial planner, but we're going to look at it from the real estate side of it, to make sure that you know what strategies are available to you to help you defer your capital gains tax obligation. Remember that on your primary residence, you have a $250,000 exemption per person. So for a married couple, that's going to be $500,000. And considering the appreciation that many homeowners have realized in the last decade, or even just in the last couple of years, you may be looking at a tax bill which is a little alarming. Well, let's sit down and let's have a conversation about what your options are, because we want you to transfer that wealth with the right information in mind, so that those beneficiaries that you've worked so hard to benefit actually are going to see the benefits of your hard work, and your money isn't all going to end up in the tax coffers. So honored to work with our families here in Southern California. We can work basically anywhere in California as well. The data tells the story, and we'd be so honored to help you. Here's my contact info, and I hope you have a wonderful Monday. You know, once again, California has some dreary looking weather outside, or maybe it's just where I live because we're so close to the coast. So I think we have a little bit of early June gloom, but I hope that the sun comes out and you can really enjoy our spring weather. With that, if you need anything, you know how to get hold of us. We'd be honored to assist you, and we look forward to seeing you soon.